Hey, welcome everybody. I guess we are being live streamed. Welcome to our touring tools for the DIY artist. I hope you're all in the right place. Welcome to both our Zoom audience and to the YouTube audience all over the world, probably on Mars too. A couple of things. Please, if you want to chat, questions and other chat things can go to the whole group in your chat thing. You can send either to Annie, who will be collating all the questions, or to me. Please don't chat to the other individual presenters. It'll just be distracting to them. We're going to get started. I'm going to introduce our couple of speakers. We're going to have Paul Price from Undiscovered Music and John Laird with the Troubadour Concert Rooms. And I guess just ask each of you to introduce yourself real briefly before we get into other things. Paul, do you want to go first and tell us who you are and what you do?
Sure. My name is Paul Price. I live in Surfland. I'm up in North Georgia. I kind of got into this space 15 years ago now. My wife and I started hosting a house concert series. So I come from the house concert side of things. My day job is I'm a digital marketer. And so I started building an online database of all like the house concerts and small venues around the country, both to help promote the shows at these small venues and also to help the artists that were touring through my house concert series. And eventually, 10 years later, that's morphed into what is now Undiscovered Music, an online community of about 12,000 acoustic music fans and artists and venues around the country.
Great, thanks. And John?
Yes, I am John Laird. I founded the Americana Agency, which is a booking agency, back in 2006, and ran that until 2018. So I did that for 12 years, booking mostly singer-songwriters, also some acoustic bands. Let's see. Since that time, I've been writing a newsletter called Americana On Stage, and which covers touring, just generally what people are doing touring-wise, and things like the festival scenes and so forth. As a part of that, I developed the Troubadour Concert Rooms, which was an outgrowth of the database I had as a booking agent. And I actually put that out there on Americana On Stage, and got was starting to get a lot of good feedback from people saying, "Hey, this is very useful for me to get gigs." So I formalized that and moved it over as its own product, and we'll be talking about that in a little bit. But I booked people largely in what I'd call Troubadour Concert Rooms.
Great, thanks. So Paul, can you talk a little bit more about your history and how that led to your putting together this the Undiscovered Music, and how did you learn that there was a need for this?
Actually, this goes back to when I first got out of college. I lived in upstate New York originally. I worked for IBM up there, and if anybody's been touring up in upstate New York, the cool club up there is called the Town Crier Cafe. So if anybody played the Town Crier Cafe in like the late '80s or early '90s, I was the guy working behind the counter handing out the desserts and the coffees and stuff. So I just kind of fell in love with live acoustic music by working at the Town Crier for a couple of years when I was upstate New York. So 20 years later, mortgage, wife, kids kind of took center stage. But now that I'm more of an empty nester, that's when we started doing the house concert series in our house. To kind of tell everybody, like reliving my childhood a little bit, hanging out with amazing musicians. And so, like I said, that Undiscovered Music started off as a side project, but now it's becoming more of a full-time business I'm trying to grow.
Great, thanks. And John, I know John because I just recently retired as a booking agent, and John ran a fellow agency. And I was so impressed with what he did that was seemingly different from all the other agencies that were trying to get big. And John tried to do quality. Just curious how that led, well, why don't you go back before that? How did you get into being an agent, and then how did that lead to what you're doing now?
Yeah, there was nothing I did previously. I was in accounting and business consulting, and just decided that I wanted what I call an encore career. So I started going to a few of the conferences, mostly Folk Alliance, but also the AMA conference in Nashville. And started learning about the business, and just decided to hop in as a booking agent. So obviously you can't start in the business just cold like that and expect to have a lot of high level touring artists. So I was booking a lot of the singer songwriters and so forth. And over time, certainly, I built up a great database of I'd call under the radar places to play. There are some very good directories out there. Polestar being one that most people know about. However, that's if you're playing arena shows and 1,000-seat theaters, that's great. If you're not, Polestar doesn't have a lot for you. So I thought there was a need for people to know about all the under the radar places, and that's what I feel that Troubadour Concert Rooms has.
That's great. Yeah, I definitely agree. That's the case. Polestar was valuable in small measure for those of us who are representing folk and roots music artists. Okay, just so you all know, we're going to do a Q&A after Paul and John both do a little presentation on screen and describe their projects in a bit more detail. So John, would you like to go first and do a little demo of what you have to offer people and how they can use it?
Yes, I sure will. Let's see. I really got into this. I wanted to answer the question: can artists with limited name recognition tour throughout the entire United States? I've come up with the answer, and it's a good news, bad news answer. The good news is that the answer is yes, and the bad news is that you can do it, but it's very hard and it's a huge amount of work. It's a huge amount of work in any case, but if you're trying to figure out all the venues and the contact information of where you can possibly play, that makes it a huger amount of work. So I felt I could at least reduce some of the amount of work by providing lists where singer-songwriters could play some smaller rooms and really go around the country doing it. I developed this Troubadour Concert Rooms, which is a database that presently has about 1,400 places to play in the United States. All of them you could plausibly, singer-songwriters with limited name recognition could play there conceivably. If you've got to pitch yourself right and do your selling. But these are places that I call my list a curated list, meaning that they are listening oriented, usually ticketed concerts. So that would I have deliberately not included things like breweries and farmers markets and those kinds of things where musicians are hired, but it's largely background music. These are places where people come out to listen to music. I have 5 categories, and as you'll see, Troubadour Concert Rooms has each venue is listed in one of 5 categories. I call them intimate venues, and I've capped it at about 300. That is, anything over 300 I have not included, because people with limited name recognition aren't going to get a headline show at a venue that big. And most of them actually aren't even close to 300. There's a lot of 100-seaters in here and, you know, in that range. Secondly is concert series, which is pretty self-explanatory. A third category is house concerts. A fourth category is music festivals. And a fifth category is summer series. The summer series is probably the one category where the ticketed shows does not really apply, because most of them are free outdoor summer series, but they are listening concerts, and people come out for the music rather than, like, if they're going to a farmer's market, they're going out to something else. So all that said, I want to dive into and show you what this Troubadour Concert Rooms is. First of all, the way you get it is to subscribe to it on Substack. It's a Substack newsletter, and I'll share a screen with you starting now. Let's see here, share. Is that, Mike, is that showing up?
Yeah, it's here. Yeah.
Yes, okay. So this is the basic homepage for Troubadour Concert Rooms. As you can see, it's Americana123.substack.com, and you can actually subscribe on this page. Note that there's, like all Substacks, there's a free and paid subscription levels. The free one will get you these newsletters and just a sample of the Troubadour Concert Rooms directory, which only really has about 50 sample venues, as opposed to the entire 1,400 plus. If the paid subscribers get the entire thing. You don't necessarily have to remember this website. If you Google Troubadour Concert Rooms, this will come up. I have a Facebook page, and then I have this Substack page, and those two will come up. Go to the Substack page, and you can subscribe to it. Now, what I do is send out a newsletter each Sunday, and I'll show you the one I sent just 2 days ago. What I do is just feature one of the 1,400 Troubadour Concert Rooms. This happens to be a place called Trade and Post in Del Norte, Colorado. And so I just give a little description of who's played there. Then down at the bottom, you can see is where the free subscribers can look at a sample of the Troubadour Concert Rooms directory, and the paid subscribers can look at the full directory by just clicking at the bottom here. And I have a map of all 1,400 on a Google map of the U.S. Here. So those links are refreshed every Sunday at the time that the newsletter goes out. So you have to go and be sure that you're looking at the most recent newsletter that has come out. All right, that's basically how to get it. Now let's look at the directory itself, and I'll share another screen. Okay, this should be it. Okay, this is the directory itself. As you can see, it's called 2026 Troubadour Concert Rooms. It's just sort of in spreadsheet, kind of familiar spreadsheet kind of format. You can see that there's the first down at the bottom. There's presently 1,416 Troubadour Concert Rooms in alphabetical order. Now, the good thing is that you can sort and filter and group these things in a lot of different ways. So if you're planning a tour of a specific area, you can, you can do that. First, let's take a look at the various fields. As you can see, concert presenter, city, state. Region Metro is where you have big states like Texas or California, I've broken them down into smaller, like in Texas, you have Houston, then obviously Dallas and Austin and so forth. Just if you wanted to, it's a way to hone in a little bit closer. Here's the series type I was talking about. You see concert series, music festival, house concert, intimate venue. They're all classified as one of those 5 types. And then I have the website for each. I have the email booking contact for each. And then I have comments. In most every case, I have the name of the person who does the booking and then some other information. I try to, if I know the capacity of the venue, I try to put that in, like that's 100 cap. And things like 2 Thursdays per month, series runs in March to September. A lot of these concert series do not have shows in the summertime, and I note that, just no summer shows and stuff like that. Where the phone number of the thing is prominently displayed publicly, that's included too. I wouldn't recommend calling a lot of these people, particularly at first. I think emailing is the standard practice in the business, unless you have something very detailed to talk about. So let me show you then. Let's suppose that you wanted to go to the Washington, D.C. area and see the various Troubadour concert rooms that you could play in. What you would do is hit filter, and I'm going to here a state. The first thing would be what we call DC a state in this case. But then you would want the DC area, which would include the Maryland and Virginia suburbs. So here you go to the region metro, Maryland, suburban DC, and add your last condition, which would be Northern Virginia, Virginia North. And make sure this is or, meaning it's in one of those jurisdictions or in another jurisdiction. And here's what you come up with. Let's scroll down. Well, I've come up with 20. If you're DC, let's call it the DC region, is 25. There's 25 potential places to play. As you'll see, a mix of house concert series, intimate venue. One thing you can do is you can then go and group by type. And then, so it's the same 25 here, but they've grouped concert series together, the house concerts together, intimate venues together. And then there's one music festival, which usually wouldn't apply because festivals are at a particular time, and it's doubtful you'll be touring in the area at that exact time. So that's just an example of the kinds of things you can do. You can sort these records any way you want it, and so forth. That's what I wanted to show with the directory itself. Let me get back. I'll ungroup and unsort this, and that just brings you back to all of the venues. I want to lastly show the map, and let me switch over into that map. Let's see here, Google My Maps. Okay, share. Here's a map of the same 1,400 venues. You can see that I've just clicked on one, and it gives information where I don't have all the detailed information. If you want to proceed, you got to go back to the directory and look up that particular Troubadour concert room. I have these grouped in the same same categories. So let's say you were only wanted to look for intimate venues, and let's say you were just to eyeball it, you're going to Colorado. So I've eliminated all but but intimate venues. And here you can see Colorado, various Troubadour concert rooms that I have included in there. If I start adding in house concerts, it's that in Colorado, there's that much more to try for. So that's what I wanted to show, at least for now, and I can come back to this if there are any questions or anything. So, Mike, I think that's the comments that I had.
Okay, thank you. As a former booking agent, you can tell that this was put together by somebody who was an agent and thought about routing and how you group things together. So it's beautiful. It's something that I would use for sure as an agent. Do you have agents who subscribe to this, or is it all independent?
I have some. I have some. Some are agents. I tell you, it's mostly DIY artists, but I have some agents.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well, thank you. Let's go over to Paul. And
sure.
Can you
share my screen?
Yeah, and tell us about your world.
Everybody see my screen?
There it is.
You got it?
Yep.
All right. Yeah, very similar to what John's solution has. I have a lot of the same things, so it'll look pretty familiar. First, I want to talk about the problems I wanted to solve. Actually, let me step back 1 minute. Not only do I have a list of a database of the venues, these small venues, hard to find venues, but I've also got I'm promoting the shows at those venues. So I've got both pieces of information, and I'll show you later how when you merge those together, you can do some cool things. But there's kind of two main problems I was trying to solve. One, helping you find the venues to play, because a lot most of the databases out there, like John said, just have the larger venues. And there's nothing that really had all these small house concerts and listening rooms and coffee shops. The way I was able to build this database, I've opened it up so it's more of a crowdsourced database. As artists post their shows to market their shows, promote their shows, if the venue they're playing is not in a database yet, they have to add it first. So it's been a community-built database, and that's gotten us up to, we're almost 7,000 venues in the database right now, thanks to the community building it. Second problem I've been trying to solve, gone beyond just giving you the database of venues, but kind of helping you get the bookings at those venues. I actually played around a little bit with helping some artists book their tours, and I understand it's a hellhole trying to send out hundreds of emails just to get like one booking. So you'll see there's a lot of tools in there to help first narrow down which venues you should contact, kind of like what John was doing, which types of venues you want to focus on. So I've got some really cool tools, and I'm starting to implement some AI helpers to kind of help that. And then the next step, which I'm starting to do now, is trying to automate as much as that process as possible, as you'll see. Come up with this concept I call it the venue fit score. So it takes those 7,000 venues that are in the database and kind of narrows it down for you based upon what kind of music that you play versus what artists have played at that venue before. What's the capacity of the venue versus compared to the capacity of the venues you've played? How often does the venue host shows? What months? Days of the week, and actually sometimes what week of the month. So sometimes there may be only a show on like the first Friday or the second Saturday. So it takes a lot of information. What I'm starting to roll in now is fans. Where's your fan base, and how can that be used to help narrow down which venues and where you should play? Let me actually go in and demo it now. All right. So this is basically when you log in, you get a dashboard. The key tools we're going to talk about today are in this tour planning side. Like I said, the first thing I was trying to solve is just get the database out there so you can search through. So this is free to use for everyone, all the community members. And we've got about 2,600 artists right now that are using this to find venues for free. So you can narrow it down by location and by venue type. I've gone a little bit beyond what John has in his database. I do go into some larger, like small theaters, nightclubs, up to maybe like 1,500, 2,000. But you by default, those aren't checked, so you can filter those out. So you can search by type, house concerts. I include senior centers, libraries, like bookstores and record stores that sometimes have concerts. So I'll switch it over to your region. We'll go Great Lakes. And so here's a list of venues. Ones that have an M in front of it, they show up first. These are actually community members. We have about 11,000 community members right now, a combination of artists, venues, and just music fans. So the members of the community show up on the top, and scroll down, and on the bottom you'll get the just venues that are in a database, but they're actually not a member of the database. So if they're a member of the database, they're maintaining their own profiles and information. I'll give you give you a feel. Let me find one that's got some good data in it. What's a good one here? We'll do this one. Okay, give you a feel for the kind of information that's in the database. So you get the basic, address, website, the booking information to book, but who's played there over the past, limiting just past 5 years. Again, like I said, I have the show information, so I know the upcoming shows as well. What you see in the right here this is where like this show logic starts coming in. So based upon, I've got a historical show database over the last 10 years, about 150,000 shows at these venues now. So using that data, I can say, well, what days of the week do they typically host shows? So the Wisconsin Singer-Songwriter Series typically looks like it's Friday and Saturday nights that they host shows, right? This says there's a show on the 28th, Tim Grimm's playing there, and then the 11th of April, David Wilcox is playing there. So since they only have, looks like they typically only have 1 or 2 shows a month, odds are these aren't good dates to reach out to. So this kind of helps focus in, like I said, to narrow down which venues you might want to contact. This is the place you want to contact if you're looking for a show on, say, a Thursday or Friday, Friday or Saturday night, and probably not in, between March and going into April. So that's basically what you get for free as a community member. There is a paid version, and that's where I start going into the more powerful features that take advantage of all the data that's in the database. So I'll go into the tour planning tool now. This is set up as almost if you're your own booking manager. So the first thing you'll see, there's 2 tabs here, where you can search and find venues to play, and then there's a workspace. So once you find venues, you start contacting a venue, you move them over into your workspace, and you can track them through, inquiry stage into negotiating, first and second holds, booking, and contracts. So that's more of like you can actually manage your bookings there. But the first stage is just finding the venues to play. And I mentioned before, we have this concept called Venue Fit Score. The venues you're seeing here are ranked based upon, on the top, this is a venue you've played before, but haven't played in, say, the last year. So that's one you might want to reach out to again. That's on the top of the list. Then you have high probability of booking, moderate probability of booking, and at the bottom, low probability of booking. Again, you get the information on the right here, what days of the week they typically host shows. So the dark green is the days that most of their shows are held. The lighter green means some occasionally has hosted shows on those days. So you might talk them into hosting, say, the First Settlement House concerts into a Sunday show. Same information when you pull one up. We'll go one. We'll click on River Dog, so you see a lot more information, like a description of the venue. Again, I said I'm rolling in some AI tools, so this is artificial intelligence. I use Google Gemini to kind of calculate what Google thinks is the probability of booking it. Again, who's played there, upcoming shows, and same kind of information you saw before. if this is a venue you want to work with, like I said, you add it to your workspace. And now over here, these are the venues I'm actually working on, right? I can come up here, and open it here. I can track this venue through the stages of the booking. There's an activity history. I'll show you, kind of pick one I was playing with before. So this is one I've got to first hold. Here's the kind of history of what I've been doing at this venue. I can record some notes, but I can set up a new activity saying I want to, next week I want to reach out to these guys again and set myself a little reminder. And your upcoming to-dos across all the venues will be showing up here. As far as some of the ways we're trying to automate the process to make it a little easier for you. One of the first thing out of the box is the system can automatically create the booking inquiry email and send it out for you. So again, I'm using artificial intelligence. So I feed artificial intelligence information about the venue, information about you, and it comes up with an email that you can send off to the venue. There are ways to customize this. I can show you that if you're interested, that there's different you can upload a template, you can define the style of the email, the tone of the email, but we'll see what it comes up with here. Okay, we're a little slow here. Hopefully it's going to finish. Okay. There we go. That took a little longer. Okay, you can see it's saying gives a little background. My songs. This is just a demo artist, a demo account that I set up, demo profile. It knows when you'll be traveling through the area, looking for a particular day, links to your videos. Again, this is all configurable, like I said. Kind of things it comes up with, because it knows who played at the venue before. It automatically kind of built this out saying, you've hosted some incredible American artists like the Howland Brothers, Tim Easton, Rod Cott. I think my music is very similar, so I might be a good fit. So it customizes the email based upon you and the venue and what it knows about both of you. Like I said, you can come in here and there's ways to configure that inquiry email. There's different templates you can choose. You can set when the email goes out, it'll automatically set a reminder for you to follow up, and that'll end up on your activity board, your to-do list. The other thing I've done is I've tried to make it as easy as possible for the venues to respond. So at the bottom of the email, there'll be buttons that say, yes, I'm interested, no, I'm interested, or not now, maybe later. Because there's nothing like sending out all emails and not getting any response back. So at least if we can get a no, that at least helpful and can help you focus attention elsewhere. So I'm trying to build in a lot of tools like that to help the process, not just provide you with a list of venues, but also help you get bookings at those venues as easy as possible. Same thing. You see there's the venues are displayed on the map. Oh, let me talk a little bit more. So you also see this timeline here. What you do what you do in the system, you have to set up what I call tour segments. So I set up a tour segment saying, I just called it a farm demo. I'm starting in Columbus, Ohio on September 5th, and I'm finishing it in Minneapolis on the 20th. All right. So the system, now you've given the system that information, so it's narrowing down these list of venues based on that. Along this timeline, you're here in Cincinnati on the 5th. If I click over here on the 20th, it knows I'm in Minneapolis. If I click anywhere between, it's going to get me look for venues along that path. The other thing it's doing is it knows what day of the week it is. So like this will be Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So let's do Wednesday. So these are venues in the Dayton area that have historically hosted shows on a Wednesday night. So it helps you narrow down which venues you want to contact. You can modify some of the filters that go into this. Again, what venue types, if you want to focus on certain capacities, days of the week that the venue has typically hosted shows. You can also do a radius clause. So you can put in here, you can put a venue name in here and say, don't show me any venues within a certain radius of that venue. So there's a lot of cool things you can do to help you narrow down which venues to contact. Your current tour is mapped out on so you can kind of follow along your tour route if you've got any bookings in the system already. As you move the map around, the search location changes, and you'll see down at the bottom the recommended venues are going to change as well. Lot of features in here. Don't have time to go through all of them, but if anybody's got any questions, feel free to reach out. I guess I'll stop the demo there.
All right, thank you, Paul. A lot of stuff from both of you. This is great. Curious to know, question from Annie. I think this is for John. Assuming that you do all your own research, does the venue have any input as to whether they want to be included and what information that you include?
Yes, they do. I periodically contact the venues, so saying, here is your listing, and please give me any corrections or so forth. Occasionally one will say we don't want to be listed, so I take them off. It's not many, but very occasionally one of them that'll happen. And I've had a few people approach me saying, I'm familiar with your thing, and can you add us? That also doesn't happen often, but I'll get an occasional, because I think I have an awful lot. So yeah.
Yeah, that's great. So just for all the people that are out there, if you want to start putting any questions that you have in the chat, we can start to get to those. Because I don't have all that many things to add at this point. I have one just out of curiosity, John, especially. Once you add a venue to your list, then all of a sudden a whole bunch of artists are they all contacting that new venue? Do you get that kind of feedback where they get inundated, then it gets even harder to get in?
I was concerned about that, and for all I know, it may be happening, but I have really not gotten that kind of feedback. Now, as I say, it might be happening, but and it's certainly a peril. But I mean, anything is like that. I mean, having the internet, everybody knows more about everything.
Right.
So mine is just a more, it's just a focused directory, and but I have not gotten that feedback.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just curious. And
I
so
see someone's asking me the same question. So venues get in my database multiple ways. Like I said, artists when they're trying to promote a show, the venue has to be in the database first, so it gets added that way. I've had plenty of venues join the community to add their venue to our database. And also I've got a couple super users around. I'm one of them that are constantly like finding shows and adding them to the database. In the probably 9 years now I've been running this. I've only had two venues say I don't want to be in your database. So I've just somebody just reaches out to me and I take them out. Because there are a lot of, like, as you see, I have like 7,000 venues in the database. Probably only 650 of them are actually members of the community that can maintain their own profile. So, but I haven't really had any problem with tons of venues saying, get me out of your database.
Mm-hmm. So one question that came up is how often are the venues updated for each of these? I think, John, you said you do it once a week.
You say updated?
Yeah.
It's the database is very up to date. There are I make changes to it every day. I would say on average there might be 5 changes per day, either additions, deletions, or just something like the venue, the person at the venue has changed, the booker. And so put in the new name and contact number. Also, I go through everything and contact them at least once a year, but also, you know, I'm looking on the internet all the time. And as soon as I see that a venue is no longer active or has just closed, or say a house concert is no longer in operation, I'll just remove it. So I do feel like it's very current and up to date.
Yeah, that's great.
And I'll answer the same question. So since I have multiple people entering the venue information, each of the venues says the last time it was updated. So whether it was up and who was updated by, whether it's by the venue or by artists or by Undiscovered Music staff. One of the things I do, because I have that show information as well, that's part of the filtering process where I said, how does, which venues are higher ranked. A lot of times with the house concerts, you don't know if they're still in business or not. A lot of times they don't have a website, so having that show information, I can filter out anybody who hasn't had a show in the last year or 2 years, and they'll be pushed down to the bottom of search lists. So because we don't know whether they're still in existence or not. So part of that venue ranking is do they have are they actively hosting shows that we know about?
Yeah. So here's one question. I think this is probably more for Paul, but you might be able to both answer some. How far back does the historical data go, and who supplied it? Is it looking from the venue's website or from the venues themselves or from personal inquiries?
Like I said, from my database, it's gone back since we started. I started this about 8 or 9 years ago. So it's been 8 or 9 years worth of shows. And like I said, the shows are added multiple ways. Either the artist can enter them, the venue can enter them, one of our super users can enter them. And I've actually got a crawler that can go find a lot of shows as well.
Okay. Okay, let's keep going down to questions.
I saw a message about promotion.
Yeah, let me get to that in a second. Paul, it says, is there an API or a code snippet option for people as artists or venues to pull in their own listings from Undiscovered Music to their own sites?
Actually, I like kind of like what Bands in Town sort of offers, where you can embed your show calendar into your website. I have one, but it's very clunky, so I wouldn't recommend it right now. I'm going to come up with a better version of that, so my goal is to list once and publish in many places. So shows that are in our database right now are pushed out to the Surfa's website. I have a partner out in Oregon who's involved in the Portland Folk Music Society. So the local shows in the Portland area are all pushed to his website, the Portland Folk Music Society's website. So we're actively looking for partners where we can push the show information out to promote us to as many places as possible, so you don't have to enter them. Yeah. We also, besides our website, which if you search on Google for like house concerts near me or live acoustic music near me, the Undiscovered Music usually shows up pretty high. So we get good search engine visibility for the website. And we also send out a weekly newsletter every Thursday that recipients get a list of all the upcoming shows in their area.
Great, thanks. Okay, go back to one question that I missed at the top. Pitch yourself right and do your selling. What exactly does that mean? How do you know what is right?
I think that might be for John.
I don't know that there's an answer to that. I mean, but I'll tell you, some artists are good salesmen and others are poor salesmen. So, and I'm not an expert on that. And one thing I do know in your initial contact, a nice photo and a link to a real good video is helpful in salesmanship. Beyond that, I don't have a whole lot of advice.
Yeah, I'll second John's comment about the videos. From a house concert host standpoint, I always go and look for videos of that artist playing in front of a live audience to decide whether I want to know what they're going to be like in my house concert setting. So, like a MTV style, highly manufactured video is not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a good quality video, not something from a phone that's like vibrating around. A good quality video of you playing in front of a small live audience is critical for getting booked at smaller venues like mine.
Okay. We have a question from Annie. Do you want to?
Yeah, so actually, I just wanted to let you all know that I did open up the chat and the questions are pouring in. So I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything. But one of the questions was about getting back to sort of the venues and how they get added in there. It looks like, Paul, I know from I use both your platforms, that yours, you can enter a venue when you're entering your show if it's not in there, right? And
Artists can enter the venue when they're entering their show. Right now, they can't really enter other venues, but like there are super users, a handful of call them community contributors that have full access. They can enter any venue, any show, any artist.
yeah. And Dean's asked a question to their mic. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw
yeah, I'm there. Okay.
that.
Yeah, Dean asked, what's the typical set length? I'm hoping to get away from the 45-minute sets and focus on an hour or so of singer-songwriter original music. And maybe either of you can answer that to some degree.
I mean, I mentioned, things like breweries and farmers market, breweries in particular, and I go to a lot of breweries and listen to a lot of, I mean, I like it, but they're, go from 2 to 5 p.m. and pay $300, and obviously it's not ticketed, and people aren't particularly listening. And my background is being a booking agent for singer songwriters who were good singer songwriters, and they just didn't want to play those types of shows. So that's my background. I'm not saying that they're all bad. There might be some good gigs in there, and I do not have those kinds of things. But I just, to some extent, I do need to limit it to something, and limiting it to ticketed listening shows in pretty small venues is what Troubadour Concert Rooms is all about.
I mean, my guess is to answer the difference. Well, for the Troubadour Concert Rooms, they're probably going to be anything from 2 45-minute sets to like a 1 hour or 75 minutes, somewhere in that range. When you get into Undiscovered music, because you're working with a wider variety of types of venues, you can't have that clear an answer. It'll depend on the type of venue.
It depends.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, like at my house concert series, it's typically two 45-minute sets with a break in between for like coffee and dessert and selling merch.
Yeah. Okay. Paul, can you talk about what you do to help with promotion of the shows?
That I kind of talked about that before. Yeah. So we send out we're trying to push the shows out to multiple websites, but what we do is we send out a weekly newsletter to right now over 11,000 recipients and it's when a venue gets added to my database, I geocode it, meaning I come out with it. I use Google to determine its longitude and latitude. And so I use that's how I figure out where the venues are. So when someone receives a newsletter, it specifically shows in their area. So they're getting pushed out in the newsletter. They're on the website. And like I said, we rank pretty well on Google. So if people search on Google for shows, they should show up that way as well.
Okay. Another question, do either of these databases indicate lead time required for booking? And that's going to be a tough one to answer, I imagine.
It's part of the venue profile. So if a venue is a member of the community, they can add that. But I wouldn't say that we have tons of data in there. So I wouldn't say it's very useful right now. But hopefully someday it might be.
Hmm. Another question for Paul. Can the calendar of shows sync from bands in town or Soundkick that already exist?
Not really right now. I'd love for it to be able to do that, but like Bands in Town has agreed to that, and they don't really want to. They don't really want to hand over their data. I've been in discussions with Bands in Town about their API, but they once you add your show to Bands in Town, they feel like they own it. So the only way I can pull information from Bands in Town is if I link back to Bands in Town. I can't display the show information. I got to be able to link back to Bands in Town, and Bands in Town does all the ticketing and gets all the commissions on ticketing and stuff. So they're very hard to work with.
Yeah.
I wish I could.
All right. Let's see what else we got here. Somebody asked, can we add venues ourselves or suggest venues? And I'm not sure which question. Brent, can you just unmute yourself and
Yeah,
so who
I
you want to
think
ask that for?
Annie had presented that one too about adding venues to undiscovered music, and I'm not sure if that was applying to the Troubadour series or not, but I guess that was for both really, and I guess suggest venues would also be another thing. I guess you would probably be open to finding ones that are not on there that might be good ones too, right?
Yeah, if you want to become a community organizer kind of thing, I can give you the keys to the kingdom, and you can add. I limit who I give that to because that gives you complete control of the database. But also, you can always just email me and say, hey, you should add this
Yeah,
venue to the
yeah,
database.
that's kind of what
It's
I
not
was
in there.
thinking. Yeah.
Is there, I'm sorry, I just interrupted. Is there any outreach to the venues, like to be like proactive searching on, for both of you on this? Like you're talking about like, it, sorry, let's just talk to John. John, are you like out there actually seeking venues to add to this, or is it more that you're hearing about them sort of passively?
Well, I actively search for them. So yes, and then once they're in there, I at least once a year contact each to and saying here is your listing, and please let me know if anything is incorrect or outdated, and I'll update it. So, but yes, I actively search. So I feel like it's pretty comprehensive, but as I say, at the same time, it's also curated in the sense of being ticketed listening shows only.
Yeah. My case, like I said, I have about 6,000 venues that are not part of the community yet. So my goal is to reach out to them and get them to join the community at some point. Um, I mentioned that the next phase of what I'm trying to add to the database is I have the show information, I have the artists and venues. I want to get the fans. Right now, I got like I said about 10, 11,000 fans that are getting the newsletters. I'm trying knowing who the music fans are that out there that we can promote our shows to would be powerful. So I'm trying to get that from 10,000 up to like 100,000. The way I'm going to do that is allowing both venues and artists to upload their mailing lists, so they can start mailing their show invitations out to their fan base via the system as opposed to using MailChimp or something like that. And uh, that'll be once I launch that, that'll be an incentive that'll be something I can reach out to the venues to say, hey, look, I'm going to offer you this free tool that you can, instead of paying $9 a month, $10 a month on MailChimp or whatever you're using to send out your invitations to all your shows, you can use our system. And that'll get, I think, more venues using the system. Because right now the only benefit is really to promote their shows. And I'm trying to add some other tools that make it more valuable for the venues to be part of the community.
Okay, we got about 5 minutes, and I got a handful more questions. So let me just try to get through what we have here. One comment from Miguel. He says we are all advocates who can talk to venue owners and managers we know and nudge them to get at it.
That'd be
So
great.
this is a community endeavor. Let's see. One question: do we have any venues that provide artist lodging, and is that searchable?
On mine, it's not searchable, and it was, that's really part of the negotiations with just like the terms of your deal. But I've never known a house concert that has not provided host housing. A lot of the concert series are the same way, provide host housing, and
As opposed to hotel rooms,
as
right?
opposed to hotel
Yeah,
rooms, right?
yeah.
But one thing is, my singer songwriters are used to sleeping on sofas.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna try to
Again,
work through these.
I have a field in the database for venues to say whether they provide accommodations or not in the description of it. But I wouldn't say there's enough data in there to make it useful right now.
Yeah. And again, that's the kind of thing that is always negotiable, to some degree. Well, sometimes you can't get what you want, but it's always it's always a question. Um, as booking agents, can you provide any perspective on the dead mailbox, meaning the venues that simply don't answer? Is it better to pester them or to leave them alone? I don't know that we have time to start even begin to address that in the couple minutes that we have left. So I would say let's save that for another session. Is there any thought to including Canada to your databases?
I do have Canada in there, but I wouldn't say it's well represented yet. So it's starting to grow, but I've probably got several hundred Canadian venues in my database.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably not going to happen on mine.
Okay. And there is a whole home routes organization in
Mhm.
Canada that does these 3-week tours for artists if you can get in. They don't take many people that aren't Canadians, but you can get in there. Last question from Diane. Is there a cost to venues or just to performers to take part in your?
On Troubadour Concert Rooms, there's no cost for venues, just the people who subscribe, be they DIY artists or agents.
And there's no cost on Undiscovered Music either.
Okay.
Uh,
And I think at the top of the chat, John said that the cost for his service is $80 a year or $8 a month. So
Correct.
a lot less than a cup of coffee per day.
And
Yeah.
Undiscovered Music, like I said, it's free to use that basic venue search tool. But if you
Yeah.
want to start using the more the more tour planning features, it's $119 a year. It's like $10 a month.
Okay. Thank you.
Paul, did you change that recently?
The pricing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
'Cause
launched the new system in
I
January.
don't know
It
why
used
I
to
thought
it
I
used to be a
was.
lot cheaper.
Yeah, I thought I was paying $5 a month just
Yeah.
as an artist to be on the system.
Up until like recently, like I said, this was just a sort of a labor of love.
Yeah,
But I'm trying to make it into a real business now, so I had to up my prices a little bit.
got you.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you both if we had time what your financial model is and how do you actually make this work for yourselves besides providing value to your subscribers. So yeah, so you do charge.
I'm trying not to charge artists too much. I'm trying to be more transactional. In the new system that we launched at that tour planning module, they're trying to kind of the way a booking agent would charge. So if you actually get a booking through the system, there'll be a charge. You have to buy booking credits. Um, Also, I'm looking into adding a ticketing capability, so we'll make money on the ticketing, advertising in the newsletter that goes out. So looking at a variety of ways that we generate some revenue, hopefully not on the backs of the artists.
Great. Okay, I think we're about at the end. Just for the folks on the live stream, we're going to say goodbye in just a second. Thank you all for joining. And Annie, can you put in contact information again here in the chat for our two participants?